Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Screen Addicts podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Steven. Happy Steve's Giving Sosa.
And I am one of your other co hosts, Jeremy the Movie Man.
I love it. That's your Twitter handle too, isn't it? By the way,
Movie Man Marsh.
I like it, man. I said Steven. Happy Steve's Giving twice. I said my name twice. I meant to say it one time, but I panicked. I thought I had a good nickname, and I botched it, of course. And I did botch it because, as you all notice, we are missing one screen addict, and that would be our fearless Capitan Chris. Chris would also like to inform all of our listeners that he's very sorry for not participating in this week's episode, but the man is busy. He is a chef. He is a coach. He is super dad. He is super hubs. And he is making all of us look bad by doing all of these things with great skill and excellence. So, unfortunately, he will not be able to join us on this episode. And as bummed out as I am, it'll also, it does bum me out because he is kind of the one that keeps the reins on you and me because we can go off on some tangents, my man.
We'll try to keep it together as best as we can for this quick episode.
As best as we can. And we say quick episode, and those usually end up being the longest ones we've done.
I know.
But in any event, we also wanted to rush this episode out because, as many of you all know, it is Thanksgiving week, and people are getting their last minute shopping and preparation done for the Thanksgiving meals that they will be having with their friends, family. And if you're unfortunate enough to have any of that going on, well, the holidays can be a bummer for some people too, but we are all in it together. And especially with this 2020, man, it's
Oh, God.
they said that it was going to throw a wrench into these holidays, and Halloween was kind of the first one when you think about it, with all the trick-or-treating and the kids not being able to come up to a lot of the doors and stuff. But I think with Thanksgiving, this is like a huge holiday for big gatherings, if you will. And I don't know, just stay safe, take your precautions. If you don't feel comfortable going out, don't go out and all that good stuff. But what are your plans for Thanksgiving?
Uh, Same as every year. Just go eat food and come home and watch football.
Sounds good. Hopefully the Cowboys will win this year. Yeah, moving on. So we will be talking about Thanksgiving movies later on in the episode, but first we will be doing our recently watched segment. So, Jeremy, what have you watched in the last week?
Well, this week's been kind of light on me. I did catch up with The Mandalorian. I am current on it, just waiting for the new episode on Friday. And damn, is it good. I like it better. I like this season better than last season.
Yeah, I agree. We watched the first three episodes. We haven't watched the fourth, which was last Friday's episode. So we're behind one. And I don't know. I heard a lot of good things about episode three. So I said, we really got to push forward to episode three because a lot of people were looking towards that one as one of the benchmarks of that show so far. And it was a really great episode. I don't know, just they're so in tune. Filoni and Favreau, they're just so in tune with that series and that character and what they're doing. And you know, did you hear about people getting upset about Baby Yoda eating those eggs?
Uh-huh.
What was that all about, man? I was thinking, like, well, yeah, of course he would eat eggs. We eat eggs, and but what was the
I
controversy with that?
don't really know. He was eating frog eggs, unfertilized frog eggs. So it's not like he was eating something that was about to be born. So,
I mean, it kind of was, but if you notice the scene in which it is born, he's kind of
he's playing with it.
he's coddling it, yeah, like taking care of it, and of course he wouldn't hurt it after it's born. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh God, please don't eat that frog while it just hatched. That would be horrible. But it kind of reminded me of when Chewbacca was grilling porgs in Last
Uh-huh.
Jedi. And but in that case, like he already baked the porg. I don't think it would have
Yeah.
mattered if you eaten that one and then just from then on moved on
Yeah.
from it. But I don't know. So what do you think of the you said you prefer this season so far?
Yeah, I'm liking this season a whole lot better than last season already. And I don't know, I guess the slow pace the last season had really didn't pull me in like this season is.
I think that's kind of typical for a lot of action paced series. You know, the first season kind of sets up a lot of character development and backstory, whereas we already know everything. Well, as much we know quite
Yeah.
a bit of the Mandalorian now, so now it's just balls to the wall action. I love that rocket pack too, man. That rocket
Yeah,
pack is
that's
awesome,
cool.
and it makes me think every time he flies. I think of the Rocketeer, you know, because that's just where my mind goes, and I think it looks so great. So if they ever do make that Rocketeer remake that they were talking about, I'm pretty excited about that one. So, all right. So anything else, man? Any
Uh,
movies or any?
yeah, I haven't really caught any newer movies recently, so
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty tough out there. I don't know. Maybe that's more in the headlines thing, but I heard something about them closing 600 theaters nationwide, which I thought, man, I can't believe that many were open. But when I think about it, both theaters here in town were open. So I don't know. It just it's such a crazy time,
yeah.
and I guess if that was it for you, man, I had a couple of movies that I watched, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. And some of them were some that Chris had already seen. Like, for example, Chris had talked about the movie Ava with Jessica Chastain and Colin Farrell, where she's the I guess she's like a secret agent type of a deal, and you
Yeah.
know, she has her own bureau or whatever agency comes after her, and this and that, kind of a Salt-esque story. And it was okay. It was only like 90 minutes long, nothing spectacular, but it was okay. I watched The Wolf of Snow Hollow,
Hmm.
and that was actually a really well done film. Um, the writer director Jim Cumming, he is also the lead, where he plays this like snowy up north town where apparently these people are getting just butchered, and well, it turns out it's a werewolf, so they're kind of on the fence as to where there's like a mythical werewolf or it's just somebody crazy. And he's, the sheriff is so strong in his beliefs that it's, just a crazy person until you come into contact with it. It's really good. Also watched one on Netflix by writer director Timu Gianto, and this Indonesian filmmaker is someone that needs to be looked at more. He did the segment in VHS about the cult that summons up that demon in Indonesia. Easily the best segment in VHS. He also did made the what's that? The Night He Comes for Us, and which is a great action movie on Netflix. And May the Devil Take You is a movie that's kind of Conjuring esque. This girl goes back home to her family, and her dad made a deal with the devil, and it's just possession and stuff. But it's more about the graphic imagery that's kind of jolting. Like, it's very very violent and very shocking,
Yeah.
and it was pretty good. And then the rest of the stuff that I watched is actually really old stuff. I kind of fall down these holes on like Tubi and Prime because they really specialize in movies that came out over 20, 30 years ago. Like,
Oh,
for
it's
example,
especially Tubi.
Tubi is ripe with some of the crap that we love to watch, man.
Oh
Like,
God.
for example, I watched The Crossing Guard. Do you remember that with Jack Nicholson?
Uh-huh.
And it was Sean Penn's directorial debut. And I remember seeing it like maybe one time, and I saw it on one of the platforms, and I thought, wow, this is really weird but good. It's very grimy. Sean Penn has a directorial style that's very grimy, very. I felt like I had to take a shower after it was over, that kind of movie. And then I watched a couple of 90s thrillers, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle with Rebecca De Mornay, where she plays the crazy nanny. And I was like, well, this kind of made me think of Single White Female with Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh. So then Sonia and I watched Single White Female, and man, it was just I love those movies, man. I don't know why. Like, that whole 90s era of female killers. I don't know what that says about me, but I really like those movies. Like, what was it, Basic Instinct? And I know Fatal Attraction was like in the 80s, but man, it just that those all those movies in that time period were just, I don't know. And I watched the entire Harry Potter series because,
Oh
of
God,
course, after
why?
well, after our trip to Universal, I was like, okay, I wanted to watch them before we went so that I could get all of the little details in some of the worlds that we were in, but we just didn't have enough time. Plus, it was bad timing because Halloween movies take precedent at the end of October. So when we came back, we decided to watch all of them, and dude, they are really good movies. Like, I think the last time I watched, especially the last four, were when they came out in the theaters, and that was the
Right.
only time I watched them. So I was just kind of a lot of it was fresh in my, like it was coming new to me. I was like, oh right, that's why that and that. And man, it was really good though. I really enjoyed it. I know that me and you, when they came out originally, we went and saw them in the theaters, and we were such snobs, man. We were like all into Lord of the Rings like for the first 3 years. Like,
Well, I'm still in that
yeah,
boat.
I mean, I'm in the boat with Frodo going into the afterlife, but yeah, I definitely am too. Like, I still have a preference for Lord of the Rings, and the comparisons were made. And of course, I was kind of a jerk. I'm like, Dumbledore couldn't hold Gandalf's staff,
No.
and but it's still like, putting that animosity aside. I really really enjoyed this rewatch of Harry Potter, and I guess being there too kind of helped. But man, Alan Rickman in those movies, damn, he's good. And it's just kind of sad that obviously he passed, but he also made there was an announcement that he's making a audiobook based off of a journal that he wrote for 25 years. So that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
But yeah, I watched the Harry Potter films, and I used to think Prisoner of Azkaban was my favorite, but I have to say that Deathly Hollows. So that's how like well in tuned I am. I don't even know the damn name. The Deathly Hollows Part Two is that actually might be my favorite one. I thought that one was really great, but I don't know. Prisoner of Azkaban's awesome. Gary
Yeah.
Oldman, you know. But yeah, I saw that, and then I watched the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the 30-year reunion that they did on HBO Max, and that was pretty good, man. It was really neat.
What I watched the trailer for that. Wasn't that just the actors sitting around
Yeah.
talking about the old times?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought to myself when I first heard the announcement of that, of it being released on HBO Max, like, of course, it was hyped up as The Fresh Prince is coming back to HBO Max, and all the seasons are already on there, so catch up with all the seasons and stuff. So I thought to myself, oh, so I guess it's just like a reboot. They're gonna have like a couple of seasons of it, or a couple of episodes.
No.
No, what it was basically just uh, uh, a paneled retrospective of the series, and but it was still cool to watch. And Will Smith, he's still Will Smith, and
Yeah.
but it was good. There were also like really interesting things about it, how they were the two Aunt Viv's
Right.
situation was addressed, and the original Aunt Viv came back, and apparently there was some real like hard times between those two, and I don't know, and he apologized to her, and I said, man, that kind of shows the character of Will Smith, and he was apologizing. He was like, I was a young kid, I was scared, I didn't know, I just thought if anybody didn't want to do the show that they were ousted. Like, he took full ownership for what happened to her. And a guy of his star magnitude and star power, you don't really would think would be that humble, or make any kind of notice that he was the one at fault. But it was really interesting. And of course, the Uncle Phil segment where they talk about
Right.
James Avery was just, oh man, that was brutal.
That
I was
was
like,
probably the toughest segment of all of them.
dude, there wasn't a dry eye in that room, because what they do is they recreated the set for it, and
Right.
they all sit in the living room to record it, and it was pretty cool. And Saudi was bawling over there. She's like, "Why do they not have Kleenexes for any of them? They're all crying." And I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty sad." But yeah, man, that was pretty much what I got, and that was in a week from the last time we recorded. I don't know what happened, but I just watched a lot of stuff for this last week for some reason. But well, moving on to the next segment, headlines. Do you have any good headlines for us?
Oh yeah, I have a couple. All right. The first, and we'll start with the depressing headline first, and then go better.
Sounds good.
So the first depressing headline. Did you hear about that? TBS is rebooting that Wipeout TV series.
Yes, I did hear about that.
Well, they were filming their first episode or whatever. A guy ran the course and he died.
Oh man, they've really increased the course levels.
I mean, they say they do health checks on everybody before they allow them to run the course. He checked out, apparently, ran the course, said he was having chest pains, went to the hospital, had a heart attack, and passed away. So,
Oh my god. So there was nothing in the actual course that
no,
physically hurt him. Okay.
it was his own unable to really physical through it properly, I
Okay.
guess. I
Because I
don't
thought like one of those like swinging balls like
know.
bashed him in the temple or something and
See,
his lights out.
that would have just canceled the TV series
Okay.
altogether, and they never would have released it.
Right.
I'm sure they'll still go forward with everything
Yeah, I would
since,
think so. I don't know why they would stop.
yeah,
Unless, like you said, if it happened during an actual course run, then yeah, that's a little bit different. Isn't John Cena attached to this? He's
yes,
the okay, so and now he's probably thinking, and his publicists are probably like, "Oh my gosh, you've got
yeah.
to pull out of this, or we can't have you on this show." And I don't know, it's such a mess, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. And even if you do pass a physical, I mean, you could be a very healthy individual and still, I mean,
Yeah,
just bad shit
it,
happens sometimes.
it does. And the next one, Coming to America, that
Hmm.
was supposed to come out on December 18th, Amazon Prime decided, you know what? We're going to move this to March 5th instead. Why, you ask? They didn't want to compete with Wonder Woman 84 going to HBO Max.
Hmm.
I don't get it. It's two totally different streaming outlets. Like, do they think there's not going to be as many eyeballs on Coming to America since Wonder Woman 84 is coming out a week later?
I totally understand what you mean because it's not like a situation where if movies are being released in the movie theater, they don't want to stack them on top of each other because usually when you go out to the theater, you have to get up, go out, get dressed, do all this stuff, and make a physical attempt to get to the theater and watch it. So people aren't as open to watching multiple films when they got to go out of their way to see it. But when it's at your fingertips at home, that seems like a bit of a stretch to not release it on the same day. It's counter programming, if anything.
Yeah,
Granted, I would have watched both of them in the same damn day,
right.
but that's just the thing is that I could. It's like, okay, Wonder Woman's over. Well, I'll just click onto my Prime app and then watch Prime, and there you go. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I,
did seem a little odd.
yeah, that was weird. And Disney decided, hey, the Predator franchise isn't dead after all. We're going to dust it off. And they tapped Dan Trachtenberg, who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, to direct this new one.
A very
And
fast-paced action movie at that. Wow, it takes place in that whole bunker, man. Like, okay.
and Patrick Ason, who did that Treadstone TV series, he's been tapped to write it. So
Have you seen that yet, Treadstone?
no.
I heard it was actually good, but yeah, I haven't watched it either.
And finally, last but not least, because it's me and this holds a special place in my heart, Deadpool 3 is actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
With new writers, surprisingly. Wendy and Lizzie Molyneux, who created Bob's Burgers.
The smash hit, man.
Yeah, that's a smash hit, and we'll see if they can tap into Deadpool. I guess since Wernick and Reese were busy doing other stuff, they couldn't write this script. It I don't know.
I was
Well,
gonna ask you about that. Like, what was their departure all about? Because they seem just as ingrained with the storytelling concept as Ryan Reynolds was. Because he
yeah,
even got credited with writing part two, right? Like Ryan
yeah,
Reynolds was.
he got co-writing credit on it.
It's probably because he improv so many damn lines that they had to give
Uh-huh.
him a writing credit. But
And I think he's going to get co-writing credit on this new one too.
yeah,
So I would assume Warnick and Reese were busy. They didn't say why. They did say Ryan has been taking meetings with different writing teams, pitching Deadpool 3 ideas, and I guess he liked their idea the best. So,
we'll see. And if anybody knows that character, it's him. Like he's had an affinity for it for over 10 years, and
yeah.
he's been wanting it done. I think he even wanted Deadpool done before uh, he did the Green Lantern. So,
The
well, he
only
was Deadpool, and
Yeah.
yeah,
The
so
only reason he signed on to do Green Lantern was because the original Deadpool project fell through.
well, yeah, because look what they did with him in that Wolverine movie. They botched it, man. It was terrible. Oh,
Yeah.
it was awful. Yeah. So that was probably a good choice. I mean, time will see. So, any further word on the rating of said Deadpool 3?
They're still going to keep it R as
Okay.
far as they're saying. So there's no director attached to it yet.
Hmm.
So
Wow. Who was the last one? Rob, was it Rob Leaf? Rob, what was his name? Rob Liefeld or no?
Life
Who's like?
Liefeld's the creator of
Oh, right.
Deadpool.
What am I thinking? Who was the damn director? I know Tim Miller did the first one, and
um,
then
John Wick.
oh is it not? Is it Damian Lee or Leach?
Yeah, David Letet,
David Lieutenant. That's it. Yeah,
Leach,
something like
or
that. Yeah.
whatever, however you
Okay.
say his last name.
So
Yeah,
he's not
I
rumored to
guess
be.
not.
Okay. Well, at least it's happening, and of course
Yeah,
it'll be under the Fox banner. It has to, and I think.
maybe. From what I read, they're gonna keep it under the Fox banner, and
Well, I was thinking about what you were just saying about the Predator movie coming out. What they could probably be doing is they're probably trying to come up with these ideas to rebrand the Fox Studios just to release some of these bigger movies. They would have to, and
there is a rumor out for Disney Plus saying there's going to be a section on Disney Plus that's password protected, and that's going to be where all the R-rated movies are. So,
which makes sense because they have just a trove of movies from Fox, Touchstone, Hollywood Pictures, so many '90s movies we grew up with. Dude, like The Rock, that's a Hollywood Pictures movie.
uh-huh.
So it's kind of like, I mean, granted, it's streaming on Netflix or Hulu now, but if they ever wanted to release it under their original ownership tag, they can do that. And every single streaming service has parental controls. So
Right.
if you're ever worried about your little kids switching from Hannah Montana to Deadpool, then you can always make sure that they're like you said, password protected and stuff. So, but
Right.
that's pretty cool. I'm glad that that's happening. And damn, it seemed like it took a long time to even make that announcement because it's Deadpool, man. It's one of the biggest selling superheroes out there right now. And
It it's a billion-dollar plus franchise, and they're just sitting on it.
Yeah. Well, at least the ball's rolling on that, or the heads are rolling.
It's slowly rolling, because it
um,
sounds like he won't even be introduced until phase 4 or phase 5, maybe.
well, another thing with that is that Deadpool the movie should still be hard R, but that Deadpool, the Marvel phase Deadpool, will have to be scaled down because they won't be able to to showcase him as he should be. Because him interacting with someone like Spider-Man is almost a necessity at this point, and Tom Holland would be game for anything. Like that
Oh
kid,
yeah.
he already said he wants to play Spider-Man longer than Hugh Jackman played Wolverine. Which is cool because it's a good paycheck, and he's really good at being Peter Parker. And yeah, that's pretty exciting.
I guess now all that's left is Disney to back up the money truck to Hugh Jackman's house and get him to dust the claws off one more time.
He's got to do it. Just do it. And if you watch Logan, which I've been meaning to rewatch again because it's amazing, and when you think about it, they purposely put that movie so far into the future, if you will,
Uh-huh.
because it almost as if they can leave the door open for, him to make like appearances from whatever happens in X-Men to Logan, that time period where a whole bunch
Yeah.
of mutants are dead, and because it's kind of a question mark going into and watching Logan. You're thinking, well, where's everybody else? What happened to the rest of the X-Men? Like, oh, they died because Patrick Stewart flipped out on everybody and blew him up. That makes sense. How funny would it be for like Deadpool to just his head explode because Professor X spazzed out on him or something? But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. That'll be pretty good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. But that's really all I got for headlines.
There was a couple that I wanted to bring past you. You did make a post about Robert Englund coming back, or not coming back. He's going to be joining the.
Yeah,
And the thing about Stranger Things is that people, I don't know if they're misconstruing the notion that he isn't coming back as Freddy Krueger.
no.
He's just Robert Englund, who's been
Yeah.
in plenty of things, and like for example, the episode he did of the Goldbergs, he plays Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger, which was amazing. It was so good how they did that. So I'm thinking, I mean, basically at this point, Robert Englund's good for nothing but Freddy Krueger, and but it'll be interesting to see him playing like some kind of like historian of a library or something like that. I don't know,
That
just to have
I
him.
would think that's probably the route they're gonna take with him.
He should reprise the Phantom of the Opera because that was an instant classic, buddy. Or the Mangler.
Mangler.
Dude, you remember that piece of trash? That movie's so bad. I think even you talked me into watching The Mangler, and I was like, why would I watch it? I'm like, oh, it's Toby Hooper, the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Yes, of course I will watch this movie. Man, that movie's just terrible. What was it? It was for everybody who doesn't know about The Mangler. It came out like 96. And is
Oh,
it about a possessed laundry press machine?
yeah,
Yes, a possessed laundry press machine. That's what you get with the
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So that'd be pretty good. And then another note was that it kind of blew up on our Facebook page, the Screen Addicts Fanatics, where I made a post about Pauly Shore wanting Disney Plus to make a Encino Man 2. And man, people were pretty receptive of that news. And while again misconstruing, it's not that they made the announcement that
No,
Encino Man 2 is made. He just wants it to happen. So
yeah.
of course someone like Pauly Shore wants it to happen
Of
because
course, he isn't
you know
doing anything. He needs the
no.
money.
What was that movie that just came out with him where he like lives he's a squatter or not a squatter, like he lives in the guest house. I guess that's what it was called, guest
Yeah,
house.
guest house.
And Amy Teagarden from Friday Night Lights was in it. So I was like, holy shit, this is weird. Did you ever watch that?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
I didn't either. I was kind of afraid to push play. I need to go back and watch that one just, for Pauly Shore. I don't know, but I thought that was kind of interesting how people were really excited about that news. Because I mean, I was too. But what would they even do? Like, what would the plot line for something like that be? Because they're so old now. Sean
Oh,
asked, and Brendan Fraser is like, if you've watched Doom Patrol,
is he
that dude.
still alive?
Yeah, yeah, and if you're watching Doom Patrol on HBO Max right now, Brendan Fraser's Robot Man, so
Oh, okay.
he's Cliff Steele. So, but dude, he is old, like really old. He does not look like George of the Jungle anymore. I'll tell you that much.
I was about to say he probably doesn't even look like his mummy self from
No,
anymore.
no, not even Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, the third Mummy movie. He doesn't even look that good anymore.
Oh,
But it is what it is. But Pauly Shore was also. We were also talking about like our favorite Pauly Shore movies, and my friend Steven had brought up the notion that Son-in-Law was really Pauly Shore's big, leading role vehicle, which, yeah, is very much so.
yeah.
And apparently is a Thanksgiving movie because I thought, wow, that's a good point. Like, Son-in-Law is indeed a Thanksgiving movie because that's the whole point. They go back to visit the girl, Carla Gugino, the girl. How disrespectful of me. Carla Gugino's home in the farm from California on Thanksgiving. So I thought, yeah, that is a Thanksgiving movie. I can actually add that to my very small list of movies that you watch during Thanksgiving. And then, of course, we talk about this every year, but it always seems to pass us by because we get so busy. But I was like, nope, not this year. We need to talk about Thanksgiving movies. And that turned out to be a little bit more difficult to come by because they are not a cornucopia of films like Christmas. Christmas and Halloween are just treasure troves of
Uh-huh.
films based within that holiday. But Thanksgiving and doing some research of Thanksgiving movies, I thought, okay, so basically what they're talking about are movies that may have a scene set in Thanksgiving and they want to call it a Thanksgiving movie. But there are some that are a little specific to that I personally love to watch every single year. And one of them, I mean, my all-time favorite Thanksgiving movie, I'll just put it out there, is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
John Candy, Steve Martin, they're trying to get home for Thanksgiving. He's a businessman, and John Candy's a salesman, and they end up just, odd coupling it on a road trip to get back home for Thanksgiving, and it is so damn funny. It holds up so incredibly well. It's rated R because of just one scene where I think at the time Steve Martin set a record for f bombs dropped in one scene. He says the f word like 26 times in like the
Nice.
span of a minute. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that deserved that rating. But I don't know, man. I was just thinking like a couple of other Thanksgiving themed movies, and like the other one that I was thinking of that I really enjoyed was one starring Katie Holmes, your girlfriend when we were in high school, and that's Pieces of April, about this girl who's living with her boyfriend in New York City, played by Derek Luke, and I guess she's at odds with her family because they have a lot of problems, and she wants to cook Thanksgiving dinner for them. And I just love that movie. It's like 75 minutes long. It's a true indie. It's set in like two locations, and it's just such a great movie. Then you have Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter, which for the time has just an all-star cast. I don't know. What were you thinking? Did you have any that you were thinking of?
um, Here's one that's just uh not really a Thanksgiving movie, but I guess you could call it that. Rocky.
Rocky. Yeah, I guess it is set during Thanksgiving, huh?
It is. And so is Adam's Family Values.
That is true. And yes, they have the whole Thanksgiving meal, or what is it? The where Wednesday and Pugsley are participating in that camp with the
Yeah.
last or the first Thanksgiving where they, in true Wednesday and Pugsley fashion, decide to flip the script, if you will. Yes, that's really good. I'm looking at this list here. It also mentions The Blind Side. That's another one of those movies where, yeah, it's set during football
You get the
season,
one
which,
scene.
yeah, they have Thanksgiving dinner. So yeah, I guess that's a Thanksgiving movie. Scent of a Woman. Hey, we just watched that because Sonia is in love with Al Pacino. Yeah, that is set during Thanksgiving. That's true, but again, not Thanksgiving themed. But
And if you want to do the one Thanksgiving scene thing, Deadpool
yeah,
during
that's
the
true.
love scene.
Oh my God, that's true. Yeah, yeah. See, we got Curly Sue. That's a good one. You've got Mail. See, You've Got Mail is more Christmas to me. I feel like that's more of a Christmas movie. And now they're just talking about movies that were released during Thanksgiving, like National Treasure with Nick Cage. Like, come on. But I don't know. There's just such a small window for, oh, dude, Soul Food. Is Soul Food a Thanksgiving movie? I'm gonna count it as a Thanksgiving movie just because I love that and it makes me cry. Your favorite Funny People? Your favorite Adam Sandler comedy?
No, that would be Jack and Jill.
Right, of course. How
It's
could I
on that
forget?
list. It's on this list too.
Oh my God, Paul Blart, Mall Cop. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a. When I think Thanksgiving, I think Paul Blart. And then, of course, it gets into some racial territory with Squanto, A Warrior's Tale, and the New
Uh,
World. So yeah,
yeah.
but
Is
there is.
Miracle on 34th Street is not a Thanksgiving movie.
See, this is an interesting notion that I was thinking about movies that became popular around Thanksgiving. Like, for example, Home Alone. Home Alone is a Christmas movie. We all know
Right.
this, but it was released in November. I guess they were trying to
Uh-huh.
get a jump on the holiday season, but it's just like, okay, it's a Thanksgiving movie, or it's a Christmas movie released in Thanksgiving. So yeah, I guess that worked for it. It was the highest grossing movie of that year, one of them anyway. So I don't know, but I just think it's funny when that happens. Oh, I do have to say though, um, there is my son, much like you and myself, really entertain the idea of really shitty movies. And there is one that I would feel remiss if I didn't talk about, and it's called Thanksgiving. And what it is, it's about an evil turkey that kills people,
Oh,
and
nice.
the turkey's name is Turkey. And I think there's three, two or three of them, and yeah, there's three Thanksgiving movies, and it's probably one of the biggest pieces of shit you'll ever watch in your life.
Nice.
but but that's kind of what you're getting with something like that. So I feel like I had to give a shout out to Connor, as Thanksgiving has become his seminal Thanksgiving movie. And now that I'm bringing it up, I'm probably gonna have to watch it with him pretty soon. So
And you got Knives Out and Grumpy Old Men.
okay, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Knives Out. That was set during Thanksgiving.
I guess
You know,
so.
I'll go with
Yeah.
it because I
Yeah.
love that movie. And I mean, what can you do? What can you do? I think there's oh dude, it says Beethoven. Beethoven was set during Thanksgiving. Who who would think
Okay.
Beethoven? But okay. But yeah, oh man, there was this one here called The Oath, and that one looked really good. I never got to see that one, but that's a Thanksgiving movie that kind of goes awry, if you will. But yeah, man. Oh, Freebirds, the animated cartoon. It's pretty
Yeah.
specific because it's turkeys that are trying to not get killed for
Dir-
Thanksgiving. So,
Directed by Scott Mosier.
oh, that's right. Kevin Smith's producer did that, huh? I think a company in Dallas filmed that movie. Now that I'm thinking about it,
They did the all the effects for it.
the CGI. Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We promised a short episode, but yeah, we just wanted to give a couple of suggestions for Thanksgiving films out there. Oh, Dutch, Ed O'Neill.
Dutch. Yeah.
That's a good one. That is
That's
a
a
great
good one.
movie. Okay, so Dutch, Planes, Trains, and Beethoven are
Yeah,
some of your
grumpy
top.
old men. There you
Yeah,
go.
Grumpy Old Men. So some of your top choices for Thanksgiving themed films. Of course, this would be a short episode because there's not a lot of movies to talk about, which is exactly why
No.
we wanted to bring this up. But again, on behalf of Chris, he wished he could be here, but again, he's super busy man. He's man. Did you see some of the turkeys that he's already prepped? That dude is
Man.
a
He's a
culinary
machine.
and they look so good too. Like
Uh,
I
no.
would pay for him to ship one of those bad boys to me, but of course it won't look like that. I mean, he's really good at that stuff. But well, I guess that's the episode for this week. And of course, if you liked this episode and any of our previous episodes, you can find them on any of our podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts. We're on there. We're on pretty much everywhere now, which is pretty good. Congratulations to us. But also, if you want to follow us on any of the social media platforms, we are on pretty much all of them. We are on Facebook. Just search Screen Addicts and we pop up. And we also have a Facebook group page, the Screen Addicts Fanatics. Just go ahead and click on there, send a request. If you're not friends with one of us, just send a request and we will approve you. And man, there's a lot of stuff that gets posted on there. A lot of people really like to share what they're watching and they really like to get insights of what other people think of the stuff that they're watching and, memes. It's just a really great. I'm really glad that Chris created that idea because it's pretty
Yeah.
good. And on Twitter, we are at screen_addicts, ADDICS, no T, because the guy that has that won't give it up. And we are on Instagram and just search Screen Addicts, and we will be on Instagram. And yeah, and Jeremy, do you want to plug any of your
uh,
social media?
let's see here. Follow me at Movie Man Marsh.
Movie Man Marsh.
Simple little one word follow.
I like it. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at cinema_Steve, Steve. And I guess it's going to go ahead and do it for us. So, adios, amigos.
Good evening.